Welcome to Spiraling, the podcast where guests share the problems, insecurities, and festering little brain worms that they just can't get out of their heads. I'm Zara Gladman. I'm not a therapist, but people like to tell me their problems, and I like to record them for content. Together, we'll try to get to the bottom of what's really going on, and with any luck, stop spiraling. Let's go.
I'm spiraling. There's a few things on my mind and I'm spiraling. So please help me unwind. I know that you're not qualified as a therapist, but I am spiraling.
Hello, welcome to episode 2 of Spiraling. We officially have more than one episode, which means we are a legit podcast now, I would say. Thank you so much for the really lovely responses to episode 1, and an even bigger thanks if you've come back for episode 2. It's really feeding my sense of self-worth, so I appreciate that. I was going to record today's episode from the Highlands because I'm going to be in Skye. I'm going to be in the area up and around Mallaig, so that's where I'll be as you're listening to this. However, I don't know where I'm staying, I don't know the Wi-Fi situation, and I can't be arsed lugging my laptop with me. So I've decided to play it safe and record this in Glasgow before I head off tomorrow morning. But as I said, if you're listening to this now, I am somewhere in that vicinity doing God knows what. It's for that TV project that I mentioned before, which is a lot of fun. Evelyn Hollow is in it as well. If you know her, she is actually a podcasting icon and a total ledge. So shout out to Evelyn. What else have I been up to? I've been watching the Dallas, Texas Cowboy Cheerleader documentary series. I've got one episode left to go. If you don't know it, highly recommend. So well made, very compelling, beautiful cinematography. Speaking of cinematography, today's guest is a filmmaker, Martin Clark. I've known Martin for a number of years. I met him originally through my partner, but as it turns out, I have loads of mutual friends. He's very well known, I would say, in Glasgow. He's very funny, he's great company, and he's very discerning when it comes to music and art and film. So I really enjoyed talking to him, and I'm sure you will as well. Martin is finishing up his first feature film called Public House, and from what I've seen of it, the little tasters online, it looks excellent. So I'm really looking forward to when that comes out. And you'll hear in our conversation, we do touch on it a wee bit, and Martin's creative process. The film is filmed in a pub in Glasgow's south side, so I'm sure that'll be of interest to some people listening. Before I hand over to Martin, a reminder, I am doing the Fringe, one day only. Still tickets available. Would be great to see you there on the 12th of August at the Cabaret Voltaire with Monkey Barrow. Okay, let's spiral.
To not do all this. The magic of radio. It's hard to not do all that stuff.
Okay, anyway, welcome Martin to the podcast.
Hello.
Have you done a podcast before?
No, I haven't actually. This is
Have
my
you
first
not?
one.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Oh my God. I'm quite new to podcasts in terms of making a podcast, but I've been on a lot of podcasts and I've been I think all of them have been video podcasts mostly. I think there was one that wasn't. And I can see why people record it, to create clips and like promote it and stuff. But the clips then end up on social media, and then sometimes things are taken out of context or you say stuff that you regret. I don't really know where I'm going with this. Be comfortable and don't worry about what you're going to say, because it's just going to be audio.
I'm most worried about is saying something that I regret, so thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah, let's try not get cancelled.
I trust you in the edit.
For people that don't know you, you are a filmmaker, correct?
Yes.
I've seen a couple of your films. I actually rewatched Jealous Alan. I did homework ahead of today. It's very funny still.
Thanks.
But for people that don't know your films, how would you describe the work that you do?
I would say I try to make films that are kind of poetic realism, I would say. So I think when I first started making films, I was, always leaning into the comedy and trying to make people laugh. But as I've gone on, I've discovered that actually you should actually concentrate on all the other emotions, and the comedy will just come. It's just better for the writing, and you make a better film at the end of the day. My favourite comedy isn't just pure gags anyway, and you've got a bit of pathos or, laughing and crying.
Laughing and crying, that's the ultimate thing.
I'll even both at the same time, which is the ultimate.
You're working on a film just now, aren't you?
Yeah, almost finished it, yeah.
Almost finished. So what are you up to at the moment with it?
It's called Public House, and we've been making it for the past 3 years, and we're at the post-production stage, so the edit is locked in, and we're working on the sound design and the grading and finishing up the music.
Exciting. So it's Public House. It's set in a pub, isn't it?
Yeah, it's set in Heraghty's Bar and Pollokshaws Road in the south side.
And was that a pub that you went to before you decided to make the film, or?
Yeah, I knew the pub. It's a really beautiful pub. It's very small and self-contained. But basically, one of the actresses that is in Jealous Alan, Alicia Welsh, her grandfather is Mickey Joe Heraghty, hence the name MJ Heraghty's. And her mum still runs the pub, and she still works in the pub. So that was the connection of how we started filming in there.
I know a little bit about the film. I've supported your crowdfunder to help with the distribution and stuff. But what's the pitch for the film then? Give us an idea of what it's about.
Yeah, it's a series of Alicia, she plays a landlady, so she's in more scenes than anyone else. But it is a sequence of vignettes where some characters are repeat and are back in out a few times, but some characters are just in for a single scene. So it's just a different characters coming and going, or just there, just like real life in a pub. So
your films, you say they're kind of, what was that term that you used, the realism term?
Poetic realism.
Poetic realism. So where does the realism come from? Is it personal experiences that you're putting into your writing, or is it things that you've observed outside of yourself, or
both of those things? Yeah, both of those things. I think if you just start with the emotion, and then think of a character, or you can think of a character first is one of the best ways to do it. Think of a character first and then put them in a situation and ask yourself how they feel about it, and then write that, and then bring someone else in and see if they feel the same thing or they feel the opposite thing. It's easier if they are opposite, even in a very subtle way, because then you can get a little bit of conflict and something. I'm not mad keen on like big masses of conflict and stuff. I like just little disagreements or different ways of thinking. And what you always need to remember is, I guess this is also a realist part, is like when people are actually in conversation, they're very rarely saying what they actually mean. So you always remember that, and that's a really good note to give actors as well, is that words are just words, but so subtext is really key as well to what I'm trying to do, especially in Scotland.
How is it directing actors? I've never really done much of that, so you've got a rapport with them. How did you find these actors in the first place?
A lot of them I've worked with before, and some of them I really admired their work, and I wrote a scene particularly with them in mind, or I had an idea for a character, or there was some other writers on the film as well, so who wrote scenes. So when they wrote the scenes, I had an idea for an actor then. So when I went to the actor, I was like, this is for you. Actors love that.
And have you never thought about putting yourself in any of your films, or have you ever done that?
I am in it, but I'm just an extra.
Are you?
I'm just an extra in it.
Okay.
I don't have any spoken words in it. Maybe one day we'll see if somebody, phones in sick or something.
This is a podcast about feeling anxious and spiralling and overthinking. You don't strike me as someone who's much of a worrier. Wait, are you a worrier?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
You're just someone who pushes it deep down.
Yes.
So it's not noticeable.
Yeah, I suppose so, but I definitely am. But that's so interesting you say that, because I thought I did show it, but maybe not.
But I don't know, you just seem quite relaxed to me, like, or anytime I've met you, you just seem quite chilled out. But maybe not. Maybe if I spoke to other people, they would disagree.
Yeah, I think I do come across as that, but I guess you make the decision in those situations, when it's a social situation, that's what you're going to do. But work situations, I think it's the same as anybody that's working in the creative industry, try to be creative or do anything whatsoever is always it's always difficult. I just watched a rough cut of the documentary about Thomas Joshua Cooper yesterday morning, and he was a teacher of mine at art school and a hero of mine, to be honest. And he said a great line in the film, which is the thing I worry about most is self-delusion. above all else.
Is that Marissa Murdoch's film?
Yeah. And I just
amazing.
thought, I laughed. I think it was only one in the cinema that laughed, but I really laughed at that because I just thought it was just such a brilliant thing to say and just so honest, you know. It's like, because at the end of the day, there has to be an element of self-delusion if you're going to create anything, I think.
It's so true that sometimes I feel like I need to be more deluded in order to get stuff done, because even just this, like buying podcast cast equipment and like setting up a sort of whatever this is, a little studio, it does feel a bit cringe in a way, like what are you trying to do? But you know that everything starts that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, definitely. And also you have to, and it's something you learn. You have to learn quite young. Is just because you make something a bit shit doesn't make you a bit shit. But you don't stop learning that. You have to keep reminding yourself that basically for the rest of your entire life.
Yeah, I guess that's the danger. And if you surround yourself with people that will bring you back down and keep you right, do you have that? Do you have people that you share stuff with that are going to be honest? And
yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think I do have that. But then even that though is still different. You can only really go with your own choice at the end of the day.
yeah, that's true.
You can ask, and even like the most critical people that you know and who will tell you the truth, will it still really be the truth? I don't know. You can only really go with, eventually it comes down to it. You have to make the decision, and you can get advice on that, but you just have to really look into yourself and really think, am I enjoying this or not? Am I confident enough to show this to people?
Yeah.
Or not?
You can also just ask as many people as you can until they give you the answer that you want to hear. Which I used to do quite a lot of.
Yeah.
Like, should I send this text?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no.
Yeah.
But I think keep asking, find someone else who's also deluded.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I first started writing scripts, because I made documentaries at first, and when I first started writing scripts, I was like chucking them about willy-nilly for everyone to read. And then I realised now that was a big mistake because, you know, I should have waited first till I was happy to share it.
Right, okay.
I think my insecurity was like feeling I needed feedback before I went any further. I needed someone to say, hey, this is great. I mean, I knew myself it wasn't good, so you just have to wait to like, do I feel that, do I think this is good?
It's so hard if you're writing on your own as well and you don't have anyone to bounce off. But of course, nowadays people have ChatGPT.
Yeah, I've never used that.
But it's really sick. I think a whole thing about it is it's really sycophantic. So if you did share something with it, it would probably be like, that's brilliant, send it off.
Oh, really? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to work it.
Have you not used it at all? No. Oh, that's good. It is evil.
Yeah. It scared me right from day one, actually, when I first saw things like photographs of like bars in Glasgow in the 80s. And I was like, wow, why have I never seen these photographs before? And then somebody said it was AI, and I was really confused by the whole thing.
It's so upsetting when that happens, and you're really excited as well to see something like that, and it's just...
And then that was before
real.
even all the text stuff and the writing stuff. But yeah, so I'm just wondering if I can just get away with never engaging with it ever.
Well, I think there's the illusion of choice now, and you know, whether you're trying to go to the bank or you're doing anything these days, chances are you might be speaking to some kind of AI bot.
Yeah, and I notice in Google it comes up.
Yeah, well, so
exactly. I am using it.
You are, unfortunately, it's the first thing. It's summarised. It's really annoying, and often it's not like accurate either.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're, you know, self-diagnosing something.
Yeah, which is the main.
Which I never do.
No. Speaking of anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety.
So you've brought with you today a spiral for us to discuss. Would you like to share what that is?
Yeah, I guess it's already connected a little bit to what we're talking about. I guess it's to do with status and age and being a late developer and peers. I find all these things really like confusing. Like about like, so who are your peers? I don't know who my peers are. Or my peers.
Is this in a creative context, not a personal context?
Not a personal context, but even it's kind of linked in it. That's also the thing about the creative world. It's all linked with friendships and things like that. It's hard to kind of disassociate them from each other. But I guess it's just that. I guess it's a lot to do with status and whether or not you feel that you are the thing you want to be. Still. So that is constantly. But like I can't remember. I was maybe in my 30s. Is when I first started to look at to see what age people were.
Oh yeah,
when they
I like doing
achieved
that.
something.
I like doing that. I do that as well.
So now, and I have never stopped. So like it's just been 20 years.
Shall we cycle back then to how you've come to be making films now and how you got here? So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a village called Caldercrooks, which is just outside Airdrie, which is my mum's good friend Liz, who sadly passed away a few years ago, called it the arsehole of Scotland.
Oh, lovely.
So it's kind of like betwixt the bum cheeks of Glasgow and Edinburgh.
Right.
And that kind of no man's land area of like North Lanarkshire, West Lothian, old kind of like mining towns kind of thing. So it's really kind of like, it's not glamorous. It's not the Highlands, it's not the Lowlands, it's not Glasgow, it's not Edinburgh, it's just stuck. So arsehole's got a good description for it. But then also it's like, I feel that when you do come from a kind of cultural wasteland, you develop an imagination to create, I think, which is quite powerful. So
you came from there, and then how did you end up in Glasgow?
Well, music, I guess, was a real thing, and I even as a little kid, I mean, I think some people are drawn to living in the countryside, and some people are drawn to living in the city. And I grew up in a kind of semi-rural kind of countryside type thing. There was farms next to us, like the farm that I grew up next to. We drank the cow's milk from there, like before pasteurisation. So it was like the milk was out the cow, into a chiller, into the bottle, onto the doorstep, onto the cornflakes. So we drank milk straight from the cow. I don't know. I can't believe I just said that story.
I love this detail.
I know. I think it's quite amazing. But anyway, but then but even as a little kid coming into Glasgow, like maybe to go shopping or go and see a pantomime or a show or anything like that, I was always, from like really tiny, was always really excited to come into Glasgow. So I just think I always had a feel for the buzz of the city.
Yeah.
And I said, so when I got a chance to move here, I moved here, and then I started. So I moved here actually just on the dole. I was on the dole. I didn't have a job, and I was out at the art school on a Saturday night at Divine and got chatting to people, and somebody told me about this thing called housing benefit, which was like if you were on the dole, it means you got your rent paid. And I was like, wow.
Imagine.
That is amazing. And then so me and another couple of guys got together and moved into a flat and got housing benefit. But that was only for a few months, and then I started Glasgow College of Building Printing and studied photography. So
what drew you to doing photography then?
Just, again, it just was like, I didn't do well at school at all. Didn't really leave school with any hires at all, but knew I wanted to do something creative. But I kind of also really knew I wanted to make films, but I just had no connection to that world at all, apart from watching films and watching TV, which I really loved doing. And then my mum's dad, my grandpa, was a really keen photographer, amateur photographer, and he lent me his camera, and I just went out and started taking photographs and just thought, oh, I can do this, I can look through the lens and it's a rectangle and it kind of looks like a film. And I thought, oh, I can do this. So then I did a night class in photography and a few black and white prints and got them together, and then applied to do a kind of national certificate at Glasgow College of Building Printing and got in. And then that's how I started my photography thing. And then I went on to art school after that.
So you did photography at the Glasgow School of Art after,
yeah.
And then you finished at the art school.
Yeah.
So what happened from that point through to where you are now making films?
Well, then I went to London and did a master's in London where I did photography. And that was kind of 2004, 2006. So that was really when the kind of digital revolution happened, and you started to get digital video cameras and a laptop and editing software. And that was all really cheap, and also digital photography as well. So, I got an old kind of like high street video camera, and you could just start videoing things and editing them together yourself. And then a kind of like love of portraiture kind of fed into that. And then I just started making kind of like silly videos, video art and different things. And then...
So what age are you at this point when you actually started doing video stuff?
I was in my 30s.
You were in your 30s?
Yeah, so I was like... So this is part of the being the late developer. So I'm kind of
I relate fully to this.
I'm literally 10 years behind. I mean, I'm literally 10 years behind. Like, you know, like I'm 54 now, so I should probably have been finishing off my first feature at 44. You know what I mean? Or even younger. But like...
And did you feel that even then in your 30s, like you said, you were Googling what age did such and such make a film?
Yeah, no, I already felt it there, because I think when I went to the Royal College of Art to do my masters, I think I was expecting people to be older, but they weren't. They were straight out of, you know, most people were in their early 20s. There was a few older people, of course, but most people are in their early 20s. But I mean, I had a brilliant time. It was great, and I'm really glad because I was such a late developer, I was really glad I went to Glasgow older and I went to the Royal College older, because I just felt I had something to say, you know, and I enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, exactly. You've had some life experience. And so if you started doing the film stuff in your 30s and everybody was younger than you, have you basically spent a couple of decades around people that are much younger than you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, not much younger, but quite a bit younger. Even in my kind of close friend group, I mean, I'm the oldest.
But do you think that's affected you in some way, in a positive way?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it has. It's like when I'm in people's company, I mean, it's not that much difference. But I suppose when I was in my 20s and my friends, you know, it was like, I mean, I'm only like my friend Cara, I'm only 2 years older than her, and
different generation.
I know this the same. So she out of our group, actually, she was the second oldest. But then when I went to art school, though, I was I think they'd already all finished art school, my friends. So everybody was about 9 to 10 years younger than me then when I finally finished at GSA.
One thing that has struck me, though, about the art school is when I went to uni, I did science, people stayed in their year and there was no kind of inter-year socialising. But it seems like the culture of doing art is there's an opening and everybody goes, and it doesn't matter what year you're in or what age. And I saw that like at Glasgow International just over the weekend there, that it was like every generation was at a show, and I feel like that's pretty cool and supportive across generations that all ages were at it. Yeah,
it definitely is that. But I still think there is a feeling amongst the art world where it's like, you know, I've noticed even since, you know, I've started putting out stuff about the film and all that, I can tell people people who have known me for years, I can sense when I speak to them, they respect me a little bit more now that I've done something.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about the peers thing. Even though I've known them for years,
how can you tell that?
Just it's a very subtle thing, you know. But it's just like, oh yeah. They're almost surprised.
Oh no!
Well, I think I spent a lot. I think I spent
stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, this is the spiral. Well, it's not really spiral, and I suppose I find it really interesting. But when I think about before, like I remember my friend Katie, when I was complaining one time, when I think I had just moved back to Glasgow, and I was complaining about, you know, work that I thought was crap and shouldn't have got an exhibition and stuff like that. And she said to me, you need to really stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and start worrying about what you're doing. And it really, really stuck with me. And I thought, gosh, she's totally right, you know, because it's quite easy to, when your own work's not going well, it's quite easy to start kind of like lashing out at people that are doing well.
It's definitely a thing in comedy as well. People I think especially with social media, it's so easy for people to look like they're doing incredibly well as well, but behind the scenes, maybe they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think people, and I would say particularly men in comedy, make it needlessly competitive when it doesn't need to be. Like, oh, such and such got this gig. Why did I not get that gig? Such and such has won that competition. They didn't deserve that. And it's like, as Katie said, it doesn't affect you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of movies out in the cinema at the moment which are doing really well, horror films, one called Obsession and one called Backrooms. And the director of Obsession is like 26 and the director of Backrooms is 20. And I'm going, what?
What pressure though, you know, like after they've made that, what next for them? Like at least, you know, maybe they should go and live life a bit and then come back to it. I don't know.
But they can't do that now because they've just made loads of money.
Well, I guess they've got it's not fair, is it?
I know. You can kind of do whatever you want then, if you've had a hit, you know.
So the kind of anxiety around being older or feeling like you're playing catch up, did that begin in your 30s? Or is that more recent?
Definitely began in my 30s.
So it's been like this for a long time.
I think because I had the cover of the institution of college, even though I was a mature student at GSA and I was a mature student at the RCA. But then it was after once that ended, then suddenly I felt more my age.
Right. Okay.
You know, I think I felt things had to happen fast for me because I was already older. Like I wasn't graduating at 23 and just been able to mess around for another 10 years. I felt things had happened faster.
But don't you think that gives you a greater sense of purpose in a way, or like you feel this kind of anxiety to like, I need to catch up. So actually you might end up being much more productive than somebody who's younger and just kind of dawdling around and not really thinking about time?
No, because I think you actually end up spending too much time worrying about it, not just enough time actually just working away at your own pace and just being like, and just allowing, because that's what I've learned now, like as I've got a bit older, is just allow the ideas to come. But any idea that comes, just make sure you're ready for it and make sure you push it to as far as it can go. You know what, if an idea does come, but like don't stress out about them not coming, or definitely don't stress out about things not happening quick enough, because actually that will actually stop the ideas coming, I think.
I guess it's difficult, and we all do it when you finish a project and you don't take any time to kind of bask in the achievement and chill out. It's always like, what's the next thing? Or if there are deadlines for funding, or, oh, I've got to book this show, then it kind of forces you to be on this treadmill, and maybe a lot of the stuff that you end up making isn't as good because you're not taking your time for the ideas to actually be good.
But the fun bit's the making. I genuinely think the fun bit's the making. It's actually all that basking in the glory and all that stuff. I think just forget. As soon as something's finished, forget about it.
That's where delusion comes.
It's out of your hands, you know. So you should just go back to follow that idea that you maybe never had time to do when you were finishing off the last thing, and just start working through it, and then other ideas come, and that's actually and those beginning moments of ideas, whether you're working with someone else or yourself, and you're just working through things. That's the most. That's the best bit, 'cause it doesn't cost any money. Do you know what I mean? Really,
yeah.
you just need to sit with a pen and paper and write things down, and that's great. And it's not until it gets further and further on when you have to do something about it, that's when it starts getting stressful.
Yeah, that's true. It's exciting when you get an idea and you're really excited about it.
I'm too old.
I guess I relate to this quite a lot because it was only really a few years ago that I started doing comedy after dipping in and out of it for years but never really committing. And then a few years ago I got TikTok. I was like, I'm going to do one sketch a week and see what happens. And it's quite heartening in a way, because it's not to say that the sketches were good, it was just making the time and putting in that time, and eventually I got somewhere. But when I started doing gigs, I was the old one. You know, there's not many women over 40 doing stand-up. I think there's some comedians like Callie Beaton, who is 50, who came into comedy really late. And
Janie Godley.
Janie Godley was she a bit older?
Yeah, she was in her 40s or maybe even 50. I don't know when she started.
Oh,
when she first
started doing stand-up.
When she first got noticed anyway and became really well known.
But you do feel this pressure to like catch up, and it's difficult when there's not many other people your age or have come to it late around you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. And it's just even calling yourself the thing. Like, I've got something. So after I go back to when I just finished that, when I started to really worry, you know, when I first finished my MA about who I was, I said to myself, I'm just going to start, when somebody asked me what I do, I'm going to say I'm an artist, because I'd never done that before. I'd always just said, I do a bit of this and I do a bit of that, and I work behind a bar, I do a thing, and I just had decided that would say, what do you do? So I'm just going to say I'm an artist, and have no embarrassment about it or anything, just say it straight up. And I was at a friend's a dinner party in London with a friend who I'd used to work with in a bar in Glasgow, and she's like an editor for a big publishing house now and stuff. And there was a few of us all round for dinner, and I was like, and we were all having a nice time and stuff, and they were all talking about buying houses and everything. So again, I already felt like, because these people were about the same age as me, maybe even a little bit younger, and they were all talking about buying houses, and I was nowhere near that. And one of them says, "And what do you do, Martin?" And I said, "I'm an artist." And one of the guys went, "Pfft,"
Really?
like guffawed.
That's awful.
Actually guffawed.
Wow.
So that was my first outgoing.
That is horrible.
I know.
Are you still in contact with that person?
No, I didn't know him. It was I only knew the host.
That makes it worse.
I know. No, he was. Yeah, he just thought. But yeah, it was shocking behaviour. But he never met an artist before, probably.
Okay, so maybe it was being generous. It was more the shock of.
I think he just was shocked. I think he was just genuinely. There's a guy. I'm having dinner with a guy who's an artist, and he's not only is an artist, he's bold enough to say he is.
Yeah, that's the delusion that you need, though.
What a deluded loser.
At least you didn't call yourself a creative.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I used to laugh. I privately laugh years ago. In Twitter bios, people that I knew were just doing unpaid open mic comedy gigs, or had maybe done a handful of gigs, having comedian in their bio, and I was like, I'm not sure about that. But then that maybe was me projecting my own insecurity a little bit as well.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's like, I remember chatting with a friend about, what's the most ridiculous thing to say you are? If you were like a poet, I think it's probably, that's kind of the worst, isn't it? But how do you, at what stage do you get to say, would you, once you were published, would you be able to say, I'm a poet?
I think that would be a good milestone. You're not saying you're a good poet.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. But a writer would say, "I'm a writer" before they've been published.
I've only started thinking about using the word writer for myself recently.
Right.
I don't know. It does seem kind of.
Do you write poetry?
A bit out there. I don't write poetry, no.
Right. Obviously, you can't.
Actually, I did at Burns Night once.
Oh yeah, of course you did.
I wrote a poem for you.
You did, exactly.
I can't remember it, but yeah.
So I'm
a poet.
You can put that in your list of jobs.
I'll put it on LinkedIn.
Poet, but just to be like, if you were just in a group of people you didn't really know, and we would say, "Oh, what do you do?" Just say, "I'm a poet." Like that would get the. You have to own it. That would get the most chance of getting a guffaw, I think.
Probably, unless you really owned it.
Artist is probably second.
I think maybe it's part of how you delivered it. Do you remember? Did you say it really confidently, or were you like, "Oh, I'm an artist"?
Well, I said it quite confidently, but I think but maybe. I thought I said it confidently. That's probably what it was. I thought I said it confidently, but maybe it was still slightly weaker. Enough for him to guffaw anyway. He's an asshole, the guy, but yeah. But I wasn't like bold enough to be like, how dare you laugh? I just kind of went along with the.
I do wonder, isn't this something that they say they kind of instill in kids that go to elite private schools? They really have it instilled in them, this confidence and sort of level of delusion, and that's why so many of them end up, apart from all the money and the networking or whatever, but in these really big positions of power. It's just having that healthy/unhealthy level of delusion and confidence that gets you places, and actually confidence could go such a long way.
It's not even in power, isn't it? It's look at it's the same in comedy. In British comedy as well, for the footlights and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like people have, kind of done everything to get there so that they can get a comedy career out of it. But there's been lots of the funniest stuff of all times come from there. So I'm not having a dig at it. I'm not having a dig at it, because I think, to be honest, I just feel like whatever class you come from, it's more difficult. It's still difficult to like do what you want to do. I think cultural capital is more important. Like I think you could probably your parents could be artists.
Yeah, it's having that exposure.
Who've never really made much money themselves, and have always kind of got by, but have always been there with the cultural capital, with the ability to say, oh, that's good, or why don't you try that, or why don't you do that, and give you confidence in your work. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more to do with that, to have come from a kind of creative, been taken to the theatre or taken to galleries or whatever. I think that's more important than money, to be honest.
So you talked about one of your anxieties about finding your peers.
Yeah.
So is that something you've always struggled with, or have you found your people now?
Yeah, I mean, I have.
Who are your peers?
That's what I mean. I don't know. But like people say, your peers. It's like when you've done a thing, you're like, oh man, now that I've made a feature film, does that mean I'm a peerage above people that haven't?
Okay. Is that how you're starting to feel?
So. But like, because not that many people get to do that.
No, that's true.
Lots of people make things, but there's not that many people that really get to make a feature film. But it was done with virtually like no money and stuff. But I just thought if I didn't have a go at it, then I would really, really regret it. But now that it's done, I am a little bit like, oh, I've done it. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm now can I now say I am a film director or filmmaker? I mean, I always like to say filmmaker because I feel that's less chance of a guffaw.
Rather than director?
I think director's a little bit like, I'm saying you're a film director is a little bit close to poet or artist.
But also you write on your films, you've written material, so you're not just a director.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Filmmaker would be more an accurate.
Yeah, but even though it doesn't sound as pompous as film director, filmmaker.
I've always felt a bit like...
Or does it?
I don't know if it
Maybe
does.
It does.
Filmmaker sounds a bit more, I don't know.
a bit more community based.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like maybe directors get more cred than writers in films. It's like, oh, that's a such and such a film, and they'll just name the director, and the writer is often overlooked.
Yeah,
which I think is a bit of a shame when it's the strong writing that makes a film good, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But that's just. But whereas in TV, it's the other way around. In TV, the writer's the king, and same with theatre. I think the writer is much more lauded above filmmaking. But I think it's maybe changing a little bit with filmmaking so much. So your peers that you work with are they then? Who are they? Who would you? Well, maybe the word peer is the problem. Maybe it is. Yeah, it's your colleagues that your community that you're working with. Who are they? What do they comprise? Well, they come from all walks of life. Like I guess my experience of Glasgow has been much more involved in the art scene and the music scene, even though I'm not a musician myself. Lots of my friends I worked in bars where there was lots of music people involved in different things in the visual art. And I think the visual art community in Glasgow kind of like copied the music community in a way with the DIY. Glasgow's having that DIY history and all that kind of thing. And that's what I kind of spent my kind of adult life being involved in. But I guess I always wanted to be a filmmaker, so I knew that I had. But the thing about those two things, particularly Glasgow's like quite internationally renowned versions of its music and its art, is they didn't wait for permission to do it. They just went and did it. So I decided that was the model I was going to follow, rather than a kind of like Scottish film type thing. I'm going to follow those two things and just try and do something without waiting for permission. So that's who I would see as my peers, as more the kind of musicians and the artists, I think, rather than other filmmakers. I think that's much more interesting than the kind of idea of a peer that you were talking about before, that you're anxious about not finding, isn't it? To have people that have that attitude, because you just end up with people from all different backgrounds and ages, and it's that brings them together rather than an arbitrary like, oh, I'm 35 and I'm doing such, I'm at this stage in my career. Yeah, I've always been more interested in, like, I suppose you'd say outsider artists, even though I'm not in that term. So that would be comedians, so it'd be like, in comic book, underground comics, underground comedians, musicians, just like oddballs. I've just always been more drawn to. So the film's kind of littered with those types. I like I say, I personally find that kind of thing much more interesting and inspiring. So I think you've got nothing to worry about. No, I know. Thanks very much. This has actually been really therapeutic. I think you're totally right. You feeling better? But I think now it's still even like, there's things, even now as the film's about to come out, I'm pretty sure if there is any press, they'll say like, oh, they'll talk about my age. Like, really? This is for a debut feature. He's like, debut feature it. Maybe you need to own... What took you so long? You just own it, maybe, yeah. I think own it as an interest. That's what makes you different. Yeah.
You know,
well, my hero, one of my most recent heroes is Tony Morris.
Oh, he's amazing. He's a perfect example.
Perfect 70s. He's the 70s, and he just got himself out there and did it. And he's
played
like
Berkine.
Yeah, exactly. He's a hero. I think the first time when he played at Optimo at the Berkeley Suite, you know, it was like just a full crowd of young people were just all chanting, you know, Tony fucking Morris, Tony fucking Morris, Tony fucking Morris.
And he's brilliant.
Is legend. Yeah, he's in my film.
Is he?
Yeah. He plays a kind of like a crooner at the end of the bar.
Yeah.
But he's just playing his own. He's in it 3 times, and he does his own work in the bar. As I thought, because I saw him on Instagram, just like everybody else, and just and thought he was brilliant, and just messaged him and said, "Look, do you find meet for a coffee? I've got this film that I'd quite like to be involved in." And we met up, and we're pals now. It's amazing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And again, it's not. I do think age is irrelevant here. It's about having that similar outlook and zest for trying new things. And he is an outsider in electronic music, but he really stands out.
Yeah,
and it's so cool.
Exactly. No, of course, you're right. I do know. You know, it's also,
so you can see it in Tony, but not for yourself.
That's also easy. Yeah, that's also easy to say, because I know that. I mean, I could easily just say what you just said, because I know it's correct. But just because it's correct doesn't mean that you always feel it.
But that's just normal and part of being human, and you know.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of it's all wrapped up in self-esteem and insecurity and all those things. Why the fuck should anyone pay attention to what you're doing? Yeah.
Especially today when there's so much stuff going on. But I think everyone's got something unique to say.
No, I know totally. No, totally it is. But it's just a constant, I think it's a constant battle between ego, self-delusion and insecurity.
But I would also say, though, like in Jealous Alan, for example, your films are airing kind of anxieties and, in the case of that film, jealousy and things that lots of people can relate to and feel seen when they watch. So it's not just about yourself. You know, sometimes you're making something and it really resonates with people. And so I think there's a value in that. And
thanks for saying that.
Your anxieties are fueling what you're making as well, because it's honest.
Yeah,
and that's when it's exciting and
I remember
relatable.
I sat in Hillhead Library and I was like, jealousy, that's a horrible thing, isn't it? Like, it's probably the worst. It's really ugly, isn't it? It's like the ugliest emotion. But like that, but it also make that way, you know, it can make you feel sick, you know, oh no, and you can't even really. You know, it's not the one that, it's not like, you know, grief, like loss and stuff where people comfort you, you know. It's really hard if someone's just been jealous.
You've got to keep it to yourself.
You're not getting comforted by anyone for that.
That's true.
Because it's kind of ugly, you know. And that's why I thought I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for that one then, because actually there's not that many things made about jealousy, I don't think.
If you had a girlfriend, right, and she got off with your best pal, who would you blame? Both of them. That's really interesting. I'd blame the girlfriend. Why? Because friends are forever, Stu Pop.
A problem shared is a problem for somebody else to solve. Help me.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah, definitely. No, just doing this makes you feel better. Are you
ready? So this is the part where I've got a little problem from the previous guest that I'm going to share with you.
Okay, great.
And you're going to be the agony aunt or uncle.
Brilliant.
So this problem came from a comedian, Eleanor Morton. She's a very funny character comedian. And it's just a little thing, but I'll see if you've got any advice for her. So I'm going to hit this button and you should be able to hear it.
Hi, my problem is I find it really hard to motivate myself in the morning to get going. How do I get out of bed instead of spending the first hour of my consciousness scrolling through the internet and fannying around?
That's exactly what I do. really difficult. Let me think about that. Can I think for a bit?
Yeah, you can. I'll edit out a long pause.
Getting a dog is good for that.
That's
Because
a good idea.
you have to walk them.
And you've got a dog.
And I've got a dog.
Charlie?
But funnily enough, he's really lazy. So he doesn't actually get up he doesn't actually need out that early.
Oh, that's
He
good.
did it first when he was a puppy, but now he
What sort of time does he need out then?
sometimes he can go till 10 or 11.
That's great.
I know, but it doesn't help with the getting. I mean, one of the reasons I got a dog was actually for this exact problem that your previous guest had.
I think that's good advice,
It's easier.
though.
I mean, you could, get a dog. Yeah, because that's how not usually most dogs do. You need to get up and get them at about 8 or 9
My
or
brother
something like that.
is up
7,
really early for his dog.
if they want out. So get a dog. Really, really, really try and not look at your phone. That's the killer. Maybe go and put your phone in the kitchen or something. And
When
then
you get
means
up?
No, just leave it in the kitchen.
Oh,
I've
just
heard
full
other people
stop,
say-
always.
Yeah. Well, when you go to bed, I've never done this one, but other people said leave your phone in the living room or the kitchen when you go to bed.
See, my problem, although I've recently found a way to solve it, I use my phone as an alarm to get up for work.
Yeah,
So it goes off and then I immediately pick it up and then I'm on my phone.
yeah.
But my phone was being really dodgy recently. So I bought an alarm clock, separate, like a traditional alarm clock, which I've still to set up. It's like a digital one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'll start using that and then I can have my phone away. But that wasn't because I was worried about phone doom scrolling. It was because I was worried about my phone, like it was like randomly switching itself off in the night and stuff. So I suppose that's a solution.
Yeah, that's the solution. But so you get an alarm clock and leave your phone in another room.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I've never done this, but I've always wondered what it'd be like to have a teas made,
Oh,
which would mean that would be your clock and would wake you up with a cup of tea. So then you could maybe sit up and drink and get a little bit of caffeine in you.
I've only seen that in Father Ted. I've never seen one in real
I don't think
life.
that's so popular these days, but yeah.
But it's a real thing that you could still get. I
Yeah,
wonder.
I think you can still get a teas made, and the whole point was like the alarm would go off, and you'd have a cup of tea ready for you.
See, I would want milk in my tea though. So you also need to have a little fridge at the end of the bed. Oh no, sorry.
Or
Has
maybe it's got
it got a milk section?
Maybe it's got a milk section. I don't know. Maybe it can add milk in as well.
Do you start with a
But,
cup of tea
yeah.
in the morning, or rather
No, I
than a
usually
coffee?
I would have a coffee, but
Do you know I went to the hygienist today? It was a new hygienist, dental hygienist, and I sat down and I opened my mouth and she was like, "You like your tea and coffee, don't you?" It's like, yeah.
well,
And
apparently
then-
you're supposed to. You should always brush, because you think like, why brush your teeth before you have your coffee? But you should brush your teeth before you have your coffee.
But you
Apparently,
need to
because
make-
of the germs that build up in your mouth as you sleep. And then if you don't brush your teeth before and then you take your coffee, you're just taking all those germs straight down into your gut.
Oh.
So you should still always brush your teeth before your coffee.
But the thing is, you're meant to wait 30 minutes after you've brushed your teeth before having the coffee
Right.
because of the enamel or something. So
Yeah.
it's tough, isn't it?
Well, that's when she could get up and brush her teeth straight away.
Up and brush your teeth.
Maybe get dressed, shower or something like that, and then coffee.
Maybe it's about rewards.
difficult.
It's,
I'm not- that's
it's
not
tough,
good
isn't it? I mean, this isn't sounding appealing
I
to me.
know.
Brush my teeth, wait half
I
an
think
hour.
the dog's been the best one so
The
far.
dog is
I
the
know.
best one.
I mean, it's this. I mean, obviously we both suffer from the same problem.
I think everybody that anyone who does anything like a bit creative, like
Because all the other comedians are not going to be up doing anything either.
yeah, maybe it's actually about reframing it. And it's like, well, one of the advantages of being freelance is you don't have to get up and you have, you know, the luxury of doing some doom scrolling and lying in
Yeah,
bed.
she should put it out to her peers. See what
Yeah.
they say.
Good point. Okay, Eleanor, hope that helps you. And if not, sorry, we tried. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of Spiraling. This is the bit where I ask if there's anything you would like to share with the, I hope, listeners, plural. This is a new podcast. Please listen.
Okay, yeah, well, you can follow Public House Film on Instagram. and you'll get updates of where we're at with it and where it's going to premiere. We haven't got a festival yet to premiere at, but we will do soon, hopefully.
So following social media, do you know roughly, have you got a timeline for when you're going to finish and have it out in the world?
Well, hopefully we'll get a August premiere at a festival somewhere, and then another couple of festivals through the winter, and then Scottish premiere early next year sometime. So hopefully the film will actually be released in cinemas kind of early spring.
That's not long.
No, I know.
Exciting.
Fingers crossed. All these things depend on distributors and all this other stuff, but
and your other films, Jealous Alan, you can watch on.
You can watch on my Vimeo page. Yeah, if you just go to Martin Clark Vimeo, you'll be able to find my Vimeo page, and you can see my short films and lots of other things that I've made over the years on there.
Thank you, Martin, for spiraling.
Thank you for having me.
Spiraling was recorded and edited with jingles written by me, Zara Gladman. Artwork was by Tom Dees, who you can follow on Instagram at easypeasylemondeasy. If you enjoyed this and would like to stop me spiraling about my decision to make a podcast, then why not leave me a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify? Thanks for listening.